Hi there, thank you for joining me in FernCrafts. I'm Christine and I welcome you to my channel. Today I wanted to do another repotting. This is long overdue, I think, on this Dendrobium Hibiki that I had. I've bought it, I've had this orchid for over 2 years now, I believe. It's bloomed for me wonderfully, and you haven't seen those videos, I've shown it in a few of the videos. I'll try to put a picture up in the corner somewhere so you'll see the beautiful blooms that it had. When it blooms towards the end of the year, somewhere around August, September I want to say, but it lasts for over 3 to almost 3.5, 4 months. The flowers, and they are bright pink with a yellow center. It looks lovely. So excuse me, when I got this orchid, she came in this pot. It's a 2-inch pot, and 2-inch pot, and that's how I've had her all along. I wanted to repot her in the beginning, but I'm glad I didn't, because I think they like somehow to be a little pot bound. And my mom has the same orchid. Hers is a little smaller, and I noticed that she doesn't have as many keikis as I did, and her blooms came a little earlier as well. Maybe because the plant is younger, I'm not quite sure why that would be, but because we have very similar conditions, but of course she does look after her orchids a lot more, as in a day-to-day basis, but whereas I only get to look at them maybe once or twice a week. And so for whatever reason, she her plant does not have as many keikis, maybe because it's not as large plant as this. I want to say old as this, I'm not sure. But in any case, see, I just watered this orchid and it came right out of the pot, and you can see it is getting there to be pot bound. But I just want to get rid of the medium, because it's been over 2 years, and a good practice with your orchids, except for a few cases, is to change your medium yearly or every 2 years. The reason you want to do this, even if everything else is fine with the orchid, is because the medium does rot down, and then it starts to become acidic. In this case, it's sphagnum moss that they have packed it in, and as you can see on the top, it's totally black. So just to say, what I am doing here is I'm upgrading her to the 3-inch pot, and it's a clay pot this time that I'm using. I like the clay pot, especially because she's top heavy, as you can see. So just to even that or balance it out, I'm using a pair of scissors. At this time, what I've done is just run it through the flame on my gas stove, and heated it up that way to kill anything or sterilize it basically. And as far as medium, I have 2 kinds. I wasn't sure which one to go with because I didn't know what was in the pot, but now that I see that it's mostly sphagnum, definitely likes to retain moisture. This is a all bark, but small bark mix with perlite in it, or I have this medium that or mix rather, that has everything in it. So I'm going to try this, and one thing that I recently found out is that this mix comes pre-fertilized, so I don't need to fertilize whatever I pot up in this mix for the first month. So I have to be a little careful. I'm going to wash out the mix a little bit, just because I don't want it to be overpowering for the orchid and then get burned or anything. So I'm just going to wash out the mix and just pot her up. So what I'll do is I'll take out all of the root, clean up, give it a good thorough spray with hydrogen peroxide, which I always like to do, and then just put a few pebbles on the bottom for drainage. As you can see, it's a very, very small drainage hole, so I don't want it to get clogged. I'll put in a few pebbles and then start with mine. Okay, so I have given the plant a good wash again, and I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I just sprayed hydrogen peroxide. So I've just kept the plant upside down, and I do this with most of my orchids after I wash them. if they're bare root. It's just so that none of the water gets lodged in between the stems, you know, like right there. And it's not so much a problem with dendrobiums because of the way the leaves are shaped so that they slope away, but especially with other orchids, the monopedia ones, that if it gets water into the crown it can rot. So yeah, it's all washed. I also, as I always tell you guys, is to give the label a very good wash, and I spray that with hydrogen peroxide too, just to be, you know, sure. I've put some clay pellets on the bottom for drainage, and I am using this mix that I have rinsed a few times, and it looks kind of messy in there, but it's just a mix of different things. It's got a bark, it's got cork, it's got seed pods, clay pellets, charcoal, coconut core, and I'm not sure what else, but it's a whole mix, and I have quite a big bag of it. After I cleaned up all of the roots, you can see that I've taken away as much of the dead root as possible, and mostly, and this is the case with most orchids that get pot bound, is and if it is potted in sphagnum, I find it very prevalent that the middle of it would rot out. So there are, all of the roots in the middle would be dead, and everything around on the outside would be the ones that are alive. I just want to show you guys something, and I just find it interesting, that's all. Is one of the keikis, as you can see, it's put out long roots, and one of the roots has actually made its way into the pot. So it is looking to be potted, but I'm not in a hurry to separate it, although I am a little concerned with this black spot there. It's got the two keikis, this one here with just two roots, as you can see, and then this one with the many roots on it. So this one I can easily separate and pot up. That not yet, but I just wanted to keep it all together, and you know, if I see that that rod is actually moving up into this orchid, this cane, then I will just chop it off here and hopefully be able to save. I've looked at the rest of the orchid and it doesn't look like it's there anywhere else, so this might have been just some mold maybe when there wasn't enough airflow, but I've rectified that, and now in the grow space I have a rotating fan, whereas the one before I would go in there every, you know, whenever I did, every 2 days or 3 days, and kind of set it in a different direction. So it wasn't the ideal thing, but now I have a rotating fan, so it spreads the airflow evenly. Okay, all that said, now just to pot it up, what I usually do is just to start off with a little on the bottom and lay the orchid in with its roots nicely tucked in, and then to backfill, and that's what I'm going to do here as well. So let me get back to you once it's done. Okay, and then one last thing is that while I was doing the washing and inspecting all of the the whole orchid really, I noticed that there's this one leaf that looks a little problematic, and whatever it is, it's probably gone now, but I just don't want to have it around just in case. It looks like there was a case of scale maybe, but it seems like that's the only leaf that looks infested. So my scissors are cleaned again. Now when you're doing the roots and then when you start doing the shoot, you should, in between, it's a good idea to sterilize your scissors again, so which I have done here, and I'm just going to go in and take off that one leaf. Oops, if I can see what I'm doing, it'll help. There. Okay, and you want to give it a clean cut. Oh. There. And I'm just going to let it air dry for now, and then I'll dust it with a little bit of cinnamon. So yes, that's a good idea, just to have a look at your orchid, make sure everything looks good, All of this is dry skin. I've looked at that already. Okay. Okay, folks, so there it is, Dendrobium Hibiki. And just to give you a little background on this orchid, it's a Dendrobium orchid, obviously, and this is a compact grower, so it doesn't get much taller than this, and it just has, it'll spread wide but not taller. And this is what it does, is it starts to put out these keikis, and it flowers. For me, it's flowered once a year, and when it does, it usually does in August, and it will last for about 3 to 4 months. It is a very, very easy orchid to grow for a beginner. So if you are looking to expand your collection and don't have this orchid, it's definitely one that you can add to your collection. I got mine from Crystal Star Orchids here in Toronto, but I'm sure you can find it online as well. And you want to look for a good quality plant. When I got this orchid, she was in excellent condition. I will just say that, because maybe now it doesn't look that good, but she was in very good conditions and nice thick canes, and it's very easy. I just water her once a week, and as far as fertilizing, I fertilize most of my orchids on a weekly basis with a weak solution. So it's the weekly solution of fertilizer. Just to point something out here, I see these red tips where they're growing, and it's just, I think it's because she was getting a little too much of the light. But now, since I moved her, it's been a week, about a week since I moved her to another location. I had her growing under lights, but then I brought her, and I just have her by an east window, and now the foliage has really cleaned up, and it's looking a lot brighter, a little darker, but that's probably because her light is natural light now, and but she is looking a lot better, which is good. So there's new growths coming out. There's a new leaf right there. There is a new, while I was potting her or unpotting her and going through her roots and cleaning it up, I noticed that there is a new growth. Now let me try and get that for you. It is right there. If you can see, it's a new cane, which is a good sign. So not only is she putting out the keikis on the top, but there's a new cane on the bottom as well. So yeah, there you go, folks. I have to say, she bloomed without any fuss. Like, I didn't have to wait for the blooms. She was almost on the clock. When I got her in August, and she was in bloom. And then last year, August again, she bloomed. So definitely an easy orchid to look after. I've potted her up in this medium, and I've tried to make most of the pieces that go in there, the finer pieces, just because she is coming out of sphagnum moss, and she would probably like to have a similar environment. I didn't want to put her all in sphagnum moss, but this way at least she's not going to be soaking wet for a long time. I just have to remember to water her and not forget on a weekly basis, and that should be fine. But thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and for those who haven't done so already, do subscribe. You'll be the first to know when I upload a video. If you haven't joined us on Facebook, come by and join us on FernCrafts Love of Orchids. We have a lovely group where you can share your orchid adventures. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, enjoy your orchids. Bye bye.